Hey friends, welcome back to our homestead. This week we got a lot of stuff done and I'm planning on lots more things next week. I'm really enjoying this challenge. It's really keeping me focused on getting food put up and to take care of things before they ruin. So here's what we got done this week. All right, friends, it's the first day of the second week, and we're going to start out with some pesto. We're just going to start out by taking our food processor and grinding up, getting our basil as small as we can, and we're going to do that, and then we're going to add some other ingredients to it. I like to use this when I make lasagna. I just put a little bit in with my sauce or a little layer of it in the lasagna. It is so delicious. It adds such a fresh flavor to your lasagna. So I just chop this up, and then I'm going to add some walnuts. It calls for pine nuts, but obviously walnuts are way cheaper. So that's what I decided to use, and I put my walnuts in there, and I get that ground up next. And then we will add some oil and some Parmesan cheese. All right, it's the second day of the second week of the challenge, and today we are going to put up some grape juice. We forage in our woods around our house every year for muscadines, and I enjoy having muscadine grape juice for breakfast or whatever. So what I do is I take 1 cup of muscadines and I put in each quart jar, and then we will add some other ingredients. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar to each one of our jars until we get every one of these jars. I have 7 quarts here because I want to do a full canner load. And you get your sugar in there and get all those filled up, or a 1/4 cup in each jar. And then we're going to top them with hot water, and we're going to shake those jars really well because you want to kind of incorporate that sugar and water together. And then we're going to water bath can these for 20 minutes. You want to make sure your canner is at a full rolling boil before you start your timer, and then let them water bath for 20 minutes. And when we take them out, they're going to be a light pink, but over the course of a few weeks, that juice will be concentrated, stronger, and ready to use. See me shaking that jar there? I'm just shaking that sugar and stuff in with the water so it's mixed well, and then popping it in the water bath canner. At the end, I'll show you what the juice looks like over a 2 or 3 week wait period. You want to make sure the water is over the top of the jars. I believe, see, I went back and added more because it was not over the top at that point, but now it is. So we're going to bring this back, or bring this up to a full rolling boil. Here is what our juice looks like coming out of the canner. You'll see it's a light pink, but I will show you what it looks like after it's set for a bit. It takes it a few weeks to really infuse and get concentrated for you to drink. And when you're ready to drink it, you just strain those berries off. I just pop a jar in my refrigerator when I'm wanting to have some. Then whenever I'm pouring it, I strain the berries off and enjoy my juice. It is delicious, and it's super cheap, super simple, and you know the ingredients. All right, we have 9 quarts of homemade muscadine grape juice. And this will be wonderful through the winter. I'm going to show you what one looks like when they're done. These need to set for probably 3 or 4 weeks to get fully concentrated, but I'm going to show you what one looks like that's done. I've got it in the fridge from last season. This is what a jar of fully concentrated grape juice looks like that we done just like these. After about 3 or 4 weeks, they'll be ready to use. And I just put them in the refrigerator. I strain out the grapes, and I enjoy it because this is really delicious and a really cheap way to make your own homemade juices. All right, today we're gonna roast some peppers. These are poblano peppers, and I believe these might be like a sweet Marconi. They just hadn't turned yet. We're gonna get them in the oven on broil, and we're gonna broil them for about 10 minutes. We'll flip them about 5 minutes after we start. Here we're just giving our peppers a flip, and we're going to get them back in the oven and let them roast for 5 more minutes. And then we will get those skins off. All right, our roasted peppers are done. We're going to let these set and cool for a little bit, and then we're going to get the skins off, get them chopped and ready for the freezer. All right, what we're gonna do is pick these peppers out, and we're gonna just take the tip of our knife and kind of get those skins off, because the skin is not gonna be very yummy to eat. It's gonna almost be weird to eat. So we wanna get those off. Just kind of pull them off. And then we'll kind of chop the top off, and then we can put these in a quart bag. I'm going to kind of chop them up so whenever we need this flavor, we will have it. I'm just going to put this in here. I'm just going to keep plugging along, getting these skins cleaned off of these peppers. Oops. There we go. And the little seed pod comes out with the stem on that one, so that's good. I'm just going to add it to our bag. I'm just getting all that skin out of the way because we don't want that in our final product here. All right, we're just gonna keep going. Sections of roasted red pepper here, and we're gonna get these in the freezer, and I'm gonna mark them. On this day, I decided Wayne had found this cushaw out in the garden that was kind of rotted at the top, but the bottom was good, so I popped it in the oven and roasted it. And then I scoop the insides out and pop it in the freezer. It'll be enough to use for a batch of muffins, and my motto is waste not, want not, so it was the good meaty part of the melon too. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough for about a cup of melon. And we'll end up using it because we love this. You know, you can substitute this for pumpkin and all kinds of stuff, so it will be used. I make a ton of pumpkin muffins in the wintertime, fall and winter, and I can assure you every bit of this will be used. I was tickled that it had something in it. I was afraid it was just going to be rotten or something because the top was, but it was very good and meaty. And we got about a cup there, and we're going to pop that in the freezer. All right, our water is finally up to temperature. Now, when we pour these cold green beans in there, it's probably going to drop the temperature. So, we need to make sure it's back up to temperature before we take them out. We're just going to let them set in here. I did this so it'd be easy to get them in and out, and bring this back to a boil. I like canning green beans most of the time, but I do like to do a few in the freezer so that we can have them for stir fries. They taste more fresh when you blanch and freeze them. I usually just can them, but this time I decided to do a few bags in the freezer for stir fry and just fresh, you know, where they're more fresh tasting. So that's what we're doing today. All right, our first set is ready to be cooled and packaged. So we're gonna get going on that. We're gonna go ahead and add our second one batch here. We're gonna go over here and work on the others. All right, here I'm just going to take some cool water and kind of run over them. This is a colander also, just to kind of cool them off a bit. That one doesn't look very good, so I'm going to take it out of there. Kind of has some browning on it, and we don't want anything but the freshest. That one also. The rest look pretty good. We want pretty green beans, though. We don't want any with brown and stuff on them, so I picked a few out of that batch, and that's okay. Now we're just going to get our vacuum seal bag here. We're going to put about half of these in one bag and vacuum seal these. We'll put the other half in another bag. We're going to get about 4 batches out of this thing of green beans. And that's good, 4 meals. Vacuum sealing is so good to do for any of the food you use because it preserves it and keeps it from getting freezer burned. So I try to vacuum seal everything that we eat pretty much that's in the freezer. And they look absolutely stunning. I do mine in small packages because it's just my husband and myself now. Our kids are all grown. But it is nice. If I need to, I can pull out 2 packages, 3 packages, whatever the need is. So I do them in sizes for me and Wayne. All right, we got 4 beautiful packs of green beans for the freezer. All right, today we're going to make some dill relish. I have a ton of cucumbers to deal with, so we're going to get started on that. First, we're going to get all of our cucumbers really good and clean. We're going to give them a good scrubbing. I saved this bottle brush to kind of use for scrubbing my vegetables. It was one of my grandkids that I bought for here at the house, or my daughter may have left it or something, but anyways, I ended up with it and I use it to scrub my veggies. All right, now we need to chop our onions, but first I want to get the salt in these cucumbers to start kind of leaching the water out, so we're going to do that first. All right, I have some pickling salt here, and we are just going to sprinkle it on here and kind of work it through these cucumbers. Just 2 or 3 tablespoons, not a whole lot. We're just going to work this salt through them, and we're going to let this set for a bit. I've got it in a colander so the water can just kind of run out of it, and then we'll go back before we put it in our pan and squeeze them. We're just going to do that and let that set for an hour or so, something like that. All right, now we'll get our onions chopped so that little task is done. All right, guys, it's been a couple of hours. We're going to get started making this relish. Anyways, what we're going to start out doing is we're going to take our pan over to the sink and we're going to squeeze as much water out of those cucumbers as we can. Squeeze as much out as we can. I can just see it running out of the bottom. So the salt really pulls a lot, plus just having it in this colander really kind of helped get it out of there. All right, now we're gonna mix our onions in there. We've got about 1.5 cups here, somewhere in there. And we're gonna grab some green chopped onions, or green chopped peppers. When we are getting fresh green peppers out of the garden, I chop them and freeze them. So when I need them for a recipe, all I gotta do is get some out. Sometimes they're kind of frozen, but it won't take me long to get out as many as I need. And that works like a charm. That's perfect. Now we're going to add 3 cups of vinegar to this. I'm going to get my measuring cup here. I'm just using white vinegar. You could mix it half and half if you wanted, but whatever I have on hand is what I use. Now we're gonna add a tablespoon of sugar. That's pretty good right there. Our dill seed. Let's see here. We're going to add these couple tablespoons of dill seed, and we are going to add what's left of this, and I have some that we grew this year. I'm going to save this one so I don't open it because it's vacuum sealed. We'll put that back in the cabinet, and I will grab our homegrown dill weed. We have quite a bit. I'm just going to put about half of this jar in here. I'm going to try to get the stems out and just leave the leaves. They're so fine. That's probably good right there. We're going to turn this on and bring it just up to a boil, turn it off, and pack our jars. All right, our relish is ready to pack in the jars. I've got my nice clean jars here. I need to get my lids and rings, but I'll grab those real quick, and then we're going to get to packing these in the jar. All right, we are ready to start. So what we're going to do is take a jar and scoop it full of the relish mixture. We want to leave at least a 1/4 inch head space. I'm going to take a butter knife, since this is real chunky, and kind of go down there, make sure we don't have any air pockets, and just adjust that head space as needed. I think we're good. That's perfect. We're just going to go to our next jar and do the same thing. Kind of run our knife down, make sure there's no big air pockets. Anytime you're doing real chunky stuff, you have the risk of having an air pocket in there. We're just going to keep, ooh, I kind of feel that one a little full. Let me take a dab of it out. That's much better. Okay. I like to have dill relish on hand for chicken salad, tuna salad, all those kinds of things. I feel like it just makes your salad so much better, so much more enjoyable. And we enjoy dill relish the best. Occasionally I'll use my squash relish, which is a sweeter relish, to make something with, but I prefer the squash relish in a sweet form. I don't know why, but it's just kind of the way the things that you like and the things that you like better, you know. And wipe 4 of these jars and get them in the water bath canner because it is ready. Oops, that's a used lid. Here's my new ones. I pop a lid back on them when they're washed and ready to go, just so nothing gets down in them. I'll just go through and wipe all these. These are going to water bath can for 15 minutes. My little water bath canner is what I'm using, so I'll have to do this in 2 batches, but that's okay. We'll just put the lid on there, give it a minute, and we'll set a timer. I'm going to go ahead and finish filling our jars for our next batch. I want to give our relish, there was a little dab left, I want to give it a taste and see if we did good. It smells delicious. I think once it sets for a bit and gets that dill flavor in there, it's really going to be good, but it smells wonderful. We're just waiting on those to get done. I was looking at the recipe and it did say to give it a week or 2 to let the flavors meld before you refrigerate it and try it. So that's what we're gonna do, because I mean it had a good flavor. It was more of a vinegary flavor, not really a dill flavor, but you know, we're using dill weed and dill seeds, so it's gonna have to have time for that to infuse into all the goodness there. And there is our 6 beautiful jars of relish. They turned out really pretty. I'm pleased with them. I think it's going to be delicious, and I know we'll use it in chicken salad and tuna, hot dogs, things like that. All right, friends, I hope that these ideas give you some ideas to help in preserving your things on your homestead. I'll see you next week with a whole new lineup of things to do. Until next time, friends, goodbye.